I've been playing this game competitively since the very beginning, but Speed Duel is by far the most fun I've ever had playing Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like Edison format, but with actual resource generation and interesting cards, instead of just revolving around game-breaking staple spells. Midterm Destruction tragically appears to be the final GX set because Konami hates Speed Duel and wants it to die, but the cards are dirt cheap and perfect for all skill levels. My goal has been to build at least one deck for every character in Speed Duel, so here are some creative ideas for our final semester at Duel Academy. And if you've got your own ideas for what to do with these cards, feel free to build in the comments. Jaden's Neo Space strategy can have a simple upgrade path, just filling it with Neos cards. Extra copies of most of these will do. So here's something different for you Edison fans. It's like Hero Beat, but with actual Neos cards. This skill turns Neos into a bigger Cyber Dragon. We don't have Gemini Spark anymore, but you do still have Hero Blast, which can also be used with Neos Alias. We've got Next, which also summons Neospacians. Grand Mole and Aqua Dolphin coincidentally do make for great allies here, removing any pesky monsters from the field or hand. Jaden can also Contact Fuse for extra power, and thanks to his skill, you won't lose Neos at the end of the turn. Expand your toolbox further with Air Hummingbird, which can also open up access to Storm Neos for blowing away spells and traps. Eon Shuffle will make them easier to spam, and you also get a draw if Neos is in your graveyard. It works even better with Elemental Hero Blazeman, who, by searching for polymerization, lets you make Brave Neos without having to use Miracle Fusion and banish things. Prisma can also help with fusions and load up the graveyard, and then also so that you can have some defense without putting a card on your field, which can prevent you from using Next from your hand. Sphere Karibo. It's not quite Winged Karibo, but, you know, it's close enough, and you can still fuse it into Brave Neos if you don't need it. Sartorius' Arcana Force hits hard and fast. Reading effectively lets you summon right out of the deck. Play 2 Emperors, and they'll buff each other up to 2,400 each. Power up a Chariot, and when it wins a battle, you get to summon the opponent's monster to your field in attack position. Or with Empress, if your opponent normal summons or sets, you get to summon the world with 3,300. You can also search for Arcana Force Zero the Fool, which cannot be destroyed in battle. I can't believe they actually printed this in Speed Duel. Many casual decks will have no answer to it. Don't undervalue Light Barrier. Sartorius cuts your life points and can only fix 2 coin flips per turn. This keeps you healthy and extending. And these are all fairies, so the Cestus can power up more and replenish your life points. You should still play defensive traps, though. Now there's one other card which you might not have guessed as part of Sartorius' arsenal.
Jackpot! Read it and weep, Kaiba!
You can search for Time Wizard using Arcana Reading, and then guarantee that it destroys all of the opponent's monsters. Do this. Do it. It's way more fun than Twin Barrel Dragon destroying one card. Now, making a boss strategy for the big guys is tempting, but I think it's a design trap. These have to send monsters to the graveyard as costs, so you cannot use token spam, and if you try to use a monster spamming skill like Slimy Disposition, then you'll no longer have Sartorius fixing your coin flips, so you're gonna need Light Barrier, and at this point you're just playing a worse Arcana Force deck. Even without its turn skip effect, the world is a massive attacker for the beatdown strategy. Summon it easily off Empress, or go even harder with Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen to special summon it. Add Arcana for an extra summon, and you've got the skip by your first or second turn, and it's backed up by a strategy that's already good enough on its own, even if you don't get this combo off. You can go hard with extra copies of the world, or just run one to search with Arcana Reading, or just focus on the little guys and Time Wizard. It's all up to you. Jim's Fossil deck is nuts. If you have Time Stream and there are 2 low-level monsters in the graveyard, you can use Jim's skill to fuse them into Fossil Warrior Skullbone. Use Time Stream to tribute that and get the level 6 Skull Knight. Graveyard effect here will search for another Time Stream, which you can use to upgrade to level 8. This will even destroy an opposing monster, and you've got the one-hit kill. The starter deck has a lot of graveyard recovery that we're going to remove to focus on Release from Stone, which recycles your boss's banishing costs into an aggressive toolbox, including with Gaia Plate the Earth Giant. Grand Mole and Legendary Jujutsu Master are fantastic rocks, but they would keep monsters out of the graveyard, so I recommend focusing on these as your main rocks. You can also use Block Golem for even stronger defenses. Grandmark the Rock Monarch can take out traps. If you keep Foolish Burial and Revival Golem, it'll be easier to summon, and you get a mid-level monster to use as fusion material for Skull Knight. Tribute to the Doomed is a quick way to get those 2 monsters into the graveyard to start your ridiculous fusion combos. And Shell Knight triggers Attack the Moon. I just can't emphasize enough how amazing Release from Stone is when you can use it with Gaia Plate and the fusions. You get your monsters back, and you get them on the field! This deck hits so hard, it is an OTK menace, and yet it's also got decent defenses too. Jim's fossil deck in Speed Duel was a mistake. That concludes Jim. Jim. It concludes Jim. Tyranno Hassleberry gets quite a few new toys. His old Dino DNA skill already made for a solid tempo deck, perfect for beginners, which now gains a search spell, Dynabase to make the Kaiju even better, Destroyer-Saurus in Jurassic World can apply more pressure and help to take down even Gaia the Fierce Knight. People who only play Advanced are so confused right now. Yeah, Gaia's got a skill that basically makes him a level 4 with a built-in Spiral Spear Strike, and if you can pump your monster above 2000, you can now win the duel in 2 attacks, which is a pretty significant breakpoint. Also to us Advanced format veterans, Food Chain being able to destroy a dinosaur every turn to summon a new one from the deck is... But skills don't count as effects, so this will not actually trigger the baby. Honestly, I think whoever designed this forgot the rules to their own game. And it has to be exactly 1 level higher, so practically speaking, you're only using Gillosaurus, the free special summon, or Black Terra, which returns to your hand, to summon these level 4s, which you could already search for anyway, and Black Brachios won't even trigger off of a special summon. I mean, Hyper Hammerhead's always annoying. That's kind of the best they've got for variety. Due to these disappointments, I have not found a convincing enough way to make Baby Ceratosaurus and Survival's End work. But if you've got any dinosaur opinions, leave them in the comments and let's figure this thing out. Deck building is a puzzle. The real prize here is Food Chain's second effect, which banishes dinosaurs from the graveyard as tributes, as a bonus summon. So not only do these huge dinosaurs become effectively special summons, but you're pumping up Tyranno Infinity. Now just use Destroyer-Saurus to fill up the graveyard faster, and some defensive traps to help you stall, and do not underestimate Tail Swipe, flinging your opponent's monsters back to the hand and hitting them directly, even if those monsters are face down. The only 5-star dinosaur for upgrading your level 4s is Duotarian, but that got me thinking. Bastion's chemistry theme is one of the worst design themes in Yu-Gi-Oh! History, and his skill card with 4 effects still manages to be just as useless. I've worked so hard trying to make a functional Bastion deck, and this is it. Just throw out Bastion. Write Bastion out of the show, give his cards to Hassleberry. You can now trade level 3 Carbon for these, and then trade these for a level 5 Duotarian, which also gets back whatever level 4 you sacrificed for it. There is finally a consistent way to get Duotarian without sacrificing the resources it's meant to build. Now that we can set up the bonding cards consistently, is Water Dragon finally good?
Geometry, they play a role in everything that we do in life. I summon Hydrogenon in attack mode, and I activate the spell card Bonding H2O. We need formulas to write, theorems to solve, equations to balance.
No. But now you can make a functional Bastion deck, so that's something. Just glue this to the back of Bastion's skill card, and then get plowed by a shape-shifting tiger or something. I don't know, it's your life to waste. For the meme lords out there, Belowski does his best to do, something with Mokey, whose cards are scattered throughout the Speed Duel GX sets. Similar to Water Dragon, you have to draw a large number of on-theme cards, yet they are not good enough or plentiful enough on their own. And this skill is full of flaws. Madness almost helps you stall until it almost makes the king easier to summon. Then the skill plays Smackdown and destroys the king, which triggers both of their effects, bringing some Mokeys back, triggering Smackdown, and now you've got 9,000 Mokey. But only if you were able to get a Mokey back on the field before destroying the king, otherwise Smackdown won't trigger and make them 3,000. And you must have only Mokeys for this stuff, otherwise the skill doesn't work at all. That, therefore, ruins any synergy with other low-level fairy vanillas and any stall tactics, avarice, anything like that. None of it works. Nor can you probably afford the damage it would take to trigger Smackdown yourself by sending Mokeys into losing battles. An open letter to whoever designed Speed Duels. I support your work financially, but you are not doing your best. Anyway, use Dark Factory and Tri-White to help gather Mokeys, As your opponent has probably accumulated some traps by this point, you can also use anti-magic arrows, or destroy them with Order to Smash, although you'll lose an attacker. You can use Amulet of Ambition to crunch those bigger monsters. Cestus of Dagla and Draining Shield can replenish your life points. You can use Just a Break for removal, or Faustian Bargain if you have that. The skill fuses only once, but you can get the king back by using Refusion and Limit Reverse, destroy it by self-destructing Limit Reverse by switching him to defense position, or destroy one of these cards using Galaxy Cyclone or Double Cyclone. You'll trigger his revival effect and get a bunch of Mokeys to become 3,000. I tried a big deck with stall tactics, but it was way too passive, so focus on just the Mokeys. Keep it slim. I am so bummed that this doesn't work with the Mokey cards. What were they thinking? Zero thoughts, head empty. To call this a bad gimmick deck would be charitable, but you probably knew what you were getting into. Anyone who's got ideas for a more functional Mokey deck, you have to give them to me in the comments. Give me your Mokeys. Aster gets a watered-down version of D-Force for a Plasma boss deck. It's still flawed because he's gonna lose to Book of Moon, but I can fix him. He's still beautiful. I can fix him. First, you're gonna need tributes. Dandelion's fluff tokens. If you play Card Trooper and mill Dandelion, you'll get 2 fluff tokens, and now you've instantly got your plasma out of 1 card. Foolish Burial also helps. Malicious is tempting, but won't quite get you to 3 concurrent tributes. To protect plasma from getting hit by Book of Moon, you can use Wabaku or Zero Gravity. You can break through walls by using Fairy Meteor Crush, which is unironically a decent card in Speed Duel, but Galaxy Cyclone might be spicier. See, after using it to destroy a trap, or if you milled it off of Card Trooper, you can use it from the graveyard to destroy whatever's equipped to plasma, and now you can have him absorb a new monster. Attack twice per game. Double Cyclone can also accomplish this. It's been making a lot of appearances today. We're short on monsters here, and we've got quite a few normal spells we're running, so let's throw in Diamond Dude. I mean, it's what Aster would want. Do it for him, won't you? You can also throw in another normal spell that'll turn your unwanted tokens into removal, and you're doing a lot of milling, so you could also play Pot of Avarice. Have fun with it, y'all. Zane gets a new skill and an update I can't believe. Even after it terrorized Duel Links, Cyberdark Cannon has come to Speed Duel. This one card discards itself to search for Cyberdark Edge, which now has 2,400 and attacks directly for half damage. You can simply add Cannon to your existing Cyberdark deck and enjoy the boost, but expect Cyberdark Edge alone to become a top-tier threat again. Just back it up with a ton of traps and it attacks directly for a few turns. Brain dead simple, but very difficult to stop. Especially when this new skill can bounce it back to the hand and resummon it if it ever loses its equip, and get it back. Cyberdark Cannon also acts as a repeated Foolish Burial, letting you Zane Truesdale wannabes dump Cyber Dragon to set up for an Overload fusion. Or you could just send Dandelion to get some added defense, but you'll probably want to send Cyberdark Claw, then use the skill to bounce Edge, summon him back, equip the Claw instead. This can now send from the extra deck to the graveyard the new Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, which can banish itself and destroy an opponent's monster, making this even harder to take down. The resummoning also lets you take advantage of Double Cyclone. Destroy one of these, this will get something back from the graveyard, this will draw a card, and then use Cyberdark Scheme to bounce it back and resummon it, and get that extra Cyberdark again. No cost, so much Double Cyclone. I'm Double Cyclone, you're Double Cyclone. We are all Double Cyclone on this blessed day. Lastly, I've got 2 builds for the Society of Light. They turn White Veil into a powered-up version of Snatch Steel in Speed Duel, so let's go. The Chazz version of this deck is going to look like a typical Arm Dragon OTK build, except instead of Land of the Ojamas, guaranteeing that you have something to pay for Oja Match, you're going to use Invitation to the Society, so that you can use Oja Match to search for Arm Dragon level 10 white, which will search for White Veil, and then you just go hard with your OTKs. Level 10 will also protect you from the downside of White Veil, the 3,000 damage you'll take if it's removed from the field. The other way to search for White Veil is by using Hidden Armory, so we'll call this the Alexis build. Hidden Armory does cost your normal summon, but you will be using the opponent's monster anyway. When White Veil is about to be destroyed, inflicting lethal damage to you, that's when you reveal Rainbow Life. I'm all about that Rainbow Life, because turning damage into recovery puts you at 7,000 life points, guaranteeing at least 2 more turns of survival. Draining Shield also helps to keep your life points up, and to stall without destroying or weakening the monsters that you're supposed to be stealing on your next turn. Use Cross Out if they try to hide from the light, and if Invitation to the Society is preventing your monsters from attacking, just use Exiled Force's effect to fight the opponent's monsters. You can round this out with whatever defensive monsters you can find lying around. But we can go harder. If the opponent doesn't have a monster worth snatch stealing, give them one, and then take it right back and show your opponent how it feels to take 3,000 damage because of White Veil. It's the best deck that does nothing but play an equip spell. They will all see the light! And get chazzed and whatever. I'd like to get chazzed. Even just once. Throw me away, I'm trash. But I'm your trash, Chazz. There, 11 ideas for new decks that you can build with Speed Duel GX Midterm Destruction. I seriously cannot recommend Speed Duel enough. Buy all the boxes, build all the decks, it'll cost you like $3 or $4 each. It's the most fun you'll ever have playing Yu-Gi-Oh! This is the Yu-Gi-Oh! That you can play with your girlfriend. Or with me. I'll be your girlfriend. Thanks for watching this far. I make a new Yu-Gi-Oh! Video every month, and if there is demand, I could add Speed Duel to that rotation. I said some pretty heinous things about Chazz Princeton off script.